need to go through as a presentation, but we've also got an interactive session where we want to talk about how we can actually do something tangible to help our schools at the moment, because we're in lockdown 3, and I think it's seems to be getting more and more challenging as opposed to getting easier, which I think, you know, we all kind of hope that they've done this before and it might get a little bit easier, but it turns out I think it's getting more difficult. So it'd be really good if we could come out with maybe 3 tangible things that we can help our schools with. So that's the breakout session. We're going to talk about a few bits and pieces that we talked about previously, like the Governor Forum, and set something up around that, or get something moving around that. We are very lucky that we have Susie Wright here from the CEC, who's going to give us an update, and we've got Jo Skeel, who is my counterpart for the rest of Devon, and she has got the unenviable task of setting up the careers fair, the virtual careers fair, and the virtual work experience. So she's going to do a little bit on that. So before we start, Simon, can you just get the agenda up so I can just fantastic. Okay, so like I said, it's all there. We've got the EA recruitment campaign that we're going to talk about. We've got the breakout sessions, and then we've got sort of next steps and feedback from that, and then any other business. So I think first of all, we've had quite a few changes in our enterprise advisors over the summer through various different things. So we have got some new people. So I think it'd be really great just to go round and say hello, and for everybody to say who they are, maybe where they work, and which school they cover. So Simon, I'm going to be a real pain in the arse, but I can't actually see everybody when that's up. So if you can take it down again, brilliant. I can start from the top. So Claire, we're going to start with you because you're my top left.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. I'm Claire Colston. I am an enterprise coordinator. I've been working with Nikki for the 2 years, working mainly in Torbay, Teignbridge and South Hams, but I'm now picking up some schools in Plymouth. So I'll be working with help me out here, guys. Millbay, Scott
UTC.
Medical and the UTC. Yeah, so I'll be joining these meetings and get to know you all a bit, hopefully, as we go forward. So good to see you.
Brilliant. Simon.
Sure. Hi, everybody. Simon Wainwright. I think I've met most of you already. Started as an enterprise coordinator back in November, I think. Seems like ages ago, but yeah, hit the ground running and got 17 schools. So I think we've done all the handovers now. So yeah, hopefully we're on the roll for the year.
And many of you will know Simon because he used to work post 16 for Plymouth City Council. So he used to come to our meetings anyway as a stakeholder. So we were just laughing about when we used to come up to the bank, and we got more and more people, and we ended up to the point where we were crammed around that table. Do you remember? There was about 20 people crammed around the table, and we had to sort of like find a chair for Simon and shove him sort of like over in the corner. So we remember that. So thank you. Jo?
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm Jo Skeel. As Nikki said earlier, I'm her counterpart, but I cover Devon, and I've also got the lead for events across the whole of the patch. So that includes virtual work experience and the careers fair and anything else that comes my way as well. So yeah, nice to see you.
John.
I am John Hennywell, and I work at Babcock, and I'm an EA for long course.
Brilliant. Thank you, John.
The other one's only a few rooms away from me.
Yeah. Next, Hennywell Senior.
Yeah, thanks for that, Nikki. Yeah, morning everybody, Mike Hennywell. Yeah, I also work for Babcock, and as John's already said, I'm an enterprise advisor for long course. I do that in conjunction with John. Brilliant.
Simon.
Simon Francis. I'm an architect. I work for myself, and I'm enterprise advisor at Sir John Hunt School.
Brilliant. Carl.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Carl Heslop. I'm the managing director of Obadair Construction based in Plymouth, and I'm the enterprise advisor for Plymouth Stock School.
Brilliant. Elaine.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Elaine Blezard. I'm Community Hub Director Santander in Plymouth, and I'm working with Plymouth High School for Girls.
And I think, Elaine, you and Simon and Nigel, who's not here today, are our long-standing EAs that have been here the longest, aren't you, I think?
Do we get a long service?
Oh,
award?
I reckon we could do something. We could do a badge of some description, I'm sure. Okay, Jace.
Morning, everyone. I'm new to the Plymouth EA team. I was an EA at Newton Abbot College. I'm a community hub director in Santander, very similar to Elaine, but at Newton Abbot. I worked with Newton Abbot College previously, and now I'm down with City College Plymouth. So hello to everyone.
Brilliant. Susie.
Morning, everybody. I'm Susie. I have worked for the Careers and Enterprise Company for 5 years now, and my patch covers kind of Cornwall, Dorset, up to South Gloucestershire. Nice to see you all.
Great. Sharon.
Good morning, Nikki. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for inviting me to join you today. I'm Sharon Robbie. I'm the Managing Director of the Devon and Cornwall Training Provider Network, and I'm also the Apprenticeship Lead for Devon County Council.
And Sharon literally is signed up from last week. So you'll have seen, some of you have seen Sharon before because she came and did a presentation. I think we were at UTC, weren't we, Sharon, when you did that, on the ASK programme, which was the Apprenticeship Skills and Knowledge programme. So Sharon's just about to meet South Devon College. She hasn't met them yet. That's this week. So she's going to be the enterprise advisor there, hopefully. Joe Burney.
Hi, I'm Jo Burney. I'm a new EA, joined in November, so very green and new, and we'll be working with Devonport High School for Girls. I'm an HR business partner currently at the hospital, University Hospital Trust in Derriford.
Brilliant, thank you. Ralph?
Good morning all, Ralph Frisk. I work for Babcock and I'm the EA for Devonport High School for Boys.
Lovely.
Nice to meet you all.
Great, thanks Ralph. Lindsay?
Hey, yeah, I'm Lindsay. I'm an organisational development and learning specialist at Delt Shared Services, and I'm the EA for Lipson School. And just quickly, and seeing as we've got Sharon on the phone, Sharon, I think, haven't we got something to celebrate at the moment for you?
Yes,
congratulations, you're in order.
Everybody, Sharon was given an MBE in the New Year's Honours list. So, and it's very well deserved. So we are very, very grateful and lucky that we've got her. So well done, Lindsay. Thank you. Darren.
Yeah, hi, I'm Darren Jones, Operations Manager at the EE Contact Centre in Plymouth, and I'm paired up with Heels School.
Brilliant. Hi, Rich.
Morning, how are you?
Well, I'm good, thanks. We just need who you are, where you come from, and which school you cover.
No worries at all. My name's Richard Blackmore. I'm the Equity, Diversity and Inclusion Manager for Babcock in 11 sites across the UK. I'm paired, so I'm based in Plymouth and I'm paired with Stoke Dameron Community College.
Brilliant. Well, great. That's fantastic. Thanks, guys. And thanks ever so much for giving up your time this morning. We do really appreciate it. So, Simon, can you just put the agenda up again? I think we're going to go straight to Susie, actually. So I just want to check. Yeah, brilliant. So what we're going to do is Susie's going to give us a quick update. There's a lot going on in the Careers and Enterprise Company at the moment. So it'd be really good to hear directly from Susie what's going on and how it affects us here in the Southwest. So, Susie, off you go.
Thanks, Nikki. Really quick update from me because there is a lot going on, but I expect you'll touch on some of it anyway as you go through the meeting. And forgive me because I need to leave by 10 because I've got to go and shortlist in my other role as a governor for Torquay Girls Grammar. Got some head teacher shortlisting going on. So that's my job at 10 o'clock. So updates. So we thought we might have the latest version of the FE government white paper, which we were assured was going to be out last week. Delayed again by a little bit. So we're hoping for that soon because it will contain, amongst other FE goodies, basically the new kind of government's career strategy that will affect both schools and colleges. Inside that paper will be our kind of remit going forward for the next, I guess, 3 years plus, hopefully. So we've been involved in, so our interim chief exec has been involved in the putting together of that paper. So that's good news for us, because essentially that means that funding for the Enterprise Advisor Network and the Heart of the Southwest Careers Hub going forward is all wrapped up in that paper. So as soon as that's out, that's kind of good news, because it means we can crack on with next year's funding arrangements, where we will fund Heart of the Southwest LEP, and they will in turn find local match funding to secure everybody's roles. So Nikki, Joe, Simon, Claire going forward. So that's good news for the programme. So we would expect that to just continue year on year going forward. We have any of you received an Enterprise Advisor survey centrally sent out? Yes, that came out to you that last week, did it? Hopefully, so that's good. So in that survey, we'd be grateful if you could return it, because and if it hasn't got to you yet, it will do in the next week or so. That is our way of working out kind of how we are doing and how you feel about the network and the support that you're getting from your ECs. So do fill that in and return that to us if you can. That would be great. Thank you. We've also launched last week, and you may have seen it all over social media and LinkedIn and everywhere, the new Enterprise Advisor recruitment campaign. We have vacancies in some schools and colleges, and we would be really grateful for your help in just retweeting and resharing any posts that you see, and also where you've got colleagues who you think would be great in this role, please do reach out and ask them if they'd be interested. We do have vacancies right across the patch. I'm sure Nikki will talk about this again later, but you know, any help you can give us will be great. You can see the impact that you're having with your institutions, and we would love to be able to share that, because we still do have some gaps. So thank you very much for your help with that. We are governed by a board, and our kind of remit going forward is to really make sure that our youth voice is heard, and we're representing young people in a much more vocal way. So we are currently recruiting for a youth board member. Final stage interviews are this week. We've had over 80 applications. Apparently it's a really high standard, so that's quite exciting. We've also got a new chief executive starting, and he'll be in place after half term. He comes from quite an exciting school model in London. His name is Ollie de Botton, so you can check him out, but I'm sure you'll see stuff from him as it comes out. We are celebrating our careers champions. Nikki, are you going to talk about this or not? If you are.
I wasn't, but
that's fine. So at the moment we are looking, so normally CEC would hold somewhat of a glitzy award ceremony. This year that's not really appropriate, so we're looking to recognise people who are doing great work across social media. So look out for that coming in National Careers Week, which is the first week of March. It's our opportunity to recognise the good work that's being done by yourselves, but also by careers leaders and other key stakeholders, maybe head teachers who are engaged, whoever else it might be. So have a look for that, and think about if there's anyone you wanted to nominate, and talk to your EC about that as well.
Just on that, it's a really quick turnaround, because we've got to have our nominations in by the 31st of January.
Fine.
So if you, and there is a 500 word submission that we have to do. So if you do have somebody that you want to suggest, please do talk to any one of us about that. And like Susie said, it doesn't have to be a careers lead, it could be a head teacher that you're working with, or somebody else. So please do let us know, but don't leave it, because it's a 500 word submission that we've got to come up with. So it's quite it's not onerous, but it's not something you can do really quickly.
And that's almost it from me. Just one or two other bits. So we're quite excitingly in discussions with JP Morgan, who've put up a large chunk of money which we can use to kind of complement the activities that we're doing within the Careers Hub and the network. So we're just working out how that's going to be approached. At the minute it will be aimed at some of the disadvantaged areas, so we would hope to, JP Morgan got a strong presence in the southwest, so it's quite exciting. So we would hope that some of our schools and colleges will be able to benefit from that. So more on that when that comes out. And just to say, really keep up the good work. I know it's quite tough times at the minute. Some of your schools will be engaging, some less so, especially where you know, your contacts are within senior leadership teams where their time is obviously required elsewhere, but there are opportunities we found in the last lockdown to engage, you know, particular people at particular times. So, you know, just I think it's about supporting your schools and colleges as and when you can, and in turn, our ECs will obviously support you with that. So thank you very much for all the work that you're doing. I know it's not an easy job. It can be really tough to make your impact, but do persevere. I know some of you, I mean, Simon's been knocking around in this role for what, a good 4 years, I would say, probably. So, you know, keep going. The rewards for the school and yourselves are definitely worth it. So thank you.
Just on that, guys, Susie is obviously our regional lead, and she comes to most of our meetings, and she's a great supporter of what we do. So just for the record, I just want to say thank you, Susie, because actually your support that you give us, both in these meetings, but just in general, is really grateful. We're really grateful for it. So thank you very much. Okay, I've managed to get the agenda up on my phone now, so I don't need to be quite so annoying, Simon. So next up, we've got Joe, who's going to talk about virtual work experience and the careers fair. Joe?
Yeah, sure. So I've got a few slides, Simon. I think you're going to share them for me because it always goes wrong for me generally.
That's fine. Just doing that now.
Thank you. Perfect. Okay, so I'll just whiz through some of these, and then if anybody's got any questions, I think that's probably the easiest way of doing it. So just to let you know, we are hosting a virtual careers fair in partnership with Learn by Design. It's a national organisation that kind of specialises in putting together virtual platforms. It's taking place across 3 days in April, towards the end of April. And what we're going to do is focus different year groups at different days so that schools have kind of multiple opportunities to engage, and also parents as well. So we're going to have some evening sessions and things like that. So it's very early days. We're still putting together the plan, but the idea for this was to kind of get the save the dates out there as soon as possible so that schools and employers kind of have those dates in their diaries and they know that it's coming. The idea for it was that we know that a lot of schools host their own careers fairs throughout the year. And what we wanted to do was take away that burden from them. So we know that, you know, they spend an awful lot of time trying to put this together. They worry about virtual platforms. They worry about safeguarding and making it secure for young people. So we just wanted to lift that kind of pressure from them, put something together that would work for the whole of the area, the whole of the patch. So this will be open to Somerset, Devon, Plymouth and Torbay schools and colleges from year 7 right the way up through to year 13. And possibly adult learners as well. Actually, like I say, we do involve parents. It's going to be free for schools to come along and individuals to come along, and also free for employers to exhibit. So like I say, the idea was to kind of keep it local. What we're toying with is having potentially different local employers in different patches. So we are very aware that South Somerset is very different to North Devon, to Torbay, to kind of Plymouth. So potentially we might have the areas split depending on, you know, so that each schools can still feel like they're getting their local input, and then kind of a national or you know, a regional patch in the middle or something like that. We want it to be really engaging, really motivating for the young people. You can see on the logo there's various different symbols throughout. So the idea is that we might theme it around a coding event. So they've got to go and talk to each exhibitor and pick up a symbol that then kind of, you know, relates to some kind of message that they've got to put together at the end or whatever, just to kind of keep them engaged. The ones that we've been to previously, I've kind of gone in and had a little look. And they've been lacking a little bit of atmosphere. There's been kind of no music or no direction, or lacking in music direction, or kind of something like that just welcomes them and engages them straight, you know, right from day dot. So we might have a few questions for them as they kind of enter, to kind of find out a little bit more about them, so that they can then direct them to the different platforms and different offers. So just from an employer point of view, Simon, if you can just click onto those very, very quickly. You know, if you did want to exhibit as an employer, so kind of from the flip side, it's like I say, it's completely free. What we want it to do is be very employer focused, so that employers can, you know, offer apprenticeships, traineeships, T-levels, kickstart, internships, all of that kind of stuff. We're going to be encouraging all businesses to create an interactive element, quizzing, coding challenges. Like I said, we'll focus on different year groups at different times, at different days. Students will be really prepped in advance. So this is one thing that we've received the feedback from schools in that, you know, and also employers, to make sure that they're engaging. So we want young people to know exactly what's, you know, what to expect, where to go, do a little bit of research on the employers that are exhibiting beforehand, and Learn by Design are going to be sourcing all of those teaching resources and that prep material beforehand, and then also do an in-depth evaluation afterwards to see what worked, to see, you know, how we can improve for future as well. So registrations will be via Eventbrite, and they will be available to schools and employers very, very shortly. And we'll keep you posted on that, and Nikki will keep you posted on that. All right, so next bit, so that's the kind of coding bit. And then, so very quickly, just onto the virtual work experience. So if we just whiz through those, Simon, and add those bits on. So what we've done for virtual work experience is we've held a couple of employer workshops, and also a large school workshop as well, where 97 of our schools attended the workshop. We've partnered with a company called Speakers for Schools. You may well have heard of them. Doesn't mean that that's the only platform that we're working with and that's the only platform available. Schools, colleges can engage with absolutely anybody out there. What we're finding though is that the barrier to accessing virtual work experience is the secure platform. So they're really worried about safeguarding and all of that stuff. So Speakers for Schools were one that we were impressed with, so we kind of, you know, hooked up with those guys to try and offer some more placements. But like I say, there are absolutely loads out there, and what we're in the process of doing is putting together a sheet so that the schools know of the other platforms and that they can choose for themselves. What we've asked Speakers for Schools to do for us is give us a regular list of opportunities so that we know a month prior to when the opportunities are going to be available, what schools can signed up to. So how it kind of practically happens is the schools create an account on the website, then they can access all of the opportunities that are posted on there on a day-by-day basis. So each individual has a look at the work placement, applies for it like they would do for any kind of other role, and then they get feedback and they get invited to kind of join that work experience program. We're promoting all of the opportunities via social media. So Nikki's doing a fine job of that, and every time that we see something coming up, and we'll add that through too. And also it gets added to our newsletters out to schools, and our kind of general comms with schools on a daily basis as well. Lots of employers are looking to run work experience via holiday time, so they're really conscious that curriculum time is, you know, kind of really key at the moment, and that schools don't want to take any of that essential learning away. So a lot of employers are tapping into kind of February half term, Easter holidays, all over the summer, and that's when a lot of them are running. But everybody's individual, and the nice thing about virtual is that they can just repeat the offer, and they can kind of, you know, pop it onto any time frame at all. What we're finding for schools is that a lot of them are still looking to deliver work experience in maybe June, July time, but we're trying to collate that calendar of events so that that we can do some kind of matching. Schools will, of course, promote opportunities out to young people over the holidays, and those that are really keen and engaged and, you know, are really eager will definitely apply for those. And that's what we're finding, is that the really motivated students are applying for this stuff over the holidays, but we're worried about the ones that don't always access those opportunities and need a little bit more motivation and hand holding, and those are the ones that we need to kind of make sure that we pick up and don't forget about. So employers are looking for advice on how to make virtual work experience interactive and meaningful, and some are looking, where they're very SMEs or something like that, on how they can kind of cluster together and put a program together themselves. So we've got a couple of workshops coming up for employers that are looking to do that, looking for ideas on how to make it really interactive and kind of bring it to life over the next, actually one this week and one next week. So Simon, I think that's just on the next slide. Yeah, so we've got a specific construction workshop coming up this week, and then how to kind of make it meaningful next week as well.
Oh.
That's okay, that's fine, carry on. You can send out these slides if they're of interest. And then just to kind of give you an idea, this is a list of the opportunities that are available during February, most of them during February half term. So you can see a kind of wide range there, that a wide range of opportunities. What we're looking to do is increase more of the opportunities specifically available in the Southwest. Lots of those at the moment are national, which is great, and our young people can still apply for those national roles, which is no problem at all. But what we want to see is far more on that list from our region. Okay, is that all right, Nikki? Is there anything else that you wanted to know, or is there any questions?
No, I think that's really good. Has anybody got any questions that they want to ask about that? Obviously, the virtual work experience is one of those things that there's always been an issue with work experience, where students who come from families with a network of people have always been quite successful at work experience and gaining work experience. But one of the things that as a hub we're really conscious of is those students that don't have the networks and don't have the ability to go and find work placements. And I know that the schools work really, really hard with those students to try and find them somewhere. And actually, maybe in the long run, COVID will give us something that we didn't have before, and that's that opportunity to do these virtual placements, or maybe a blend between actually going in some of the time, but also doing some stuff virtually, because I think it's really important for the students that haven't been able to find something to have another offer. So I think that, whilst COVID has been very difficult for many of us and for many of the children and many of the teachers, there are some little nuggets of really great ideas that have come from that. And I think that virtual work experience could be one of those. One of the things that Joe touched on is there's quite strict criteria for Gatsby around what is meaningful in work experience. And it's particularly around, they want a two-way interaction. It can't be that a child just sits in front of a computer and is talked at by someone who's not actually live. It's just a video. It needs to be interactive at some point. It also needs to show that more than one job role within that place, because the whole point of going into a workplace is to see that there's more than one person working there, unless you're Simon Francis and there's only him. But ordinarily there'd be more than one person. There's different job roles. So you go into, I don't know, you go into the bank with Elaine, it's not just the guys at the front desk. There's all sorts of things going on in the background that are different job roles that you wouldn't necessarily know about. And part of work experience is understanding what those different job roles are within a setting. And the final one is that they want it to be project-based, so the students actually get to do something and learn something from it. So again, that's something that if you were interested in doing it, whether you do it as a group, a small group of SMEs together, or whether you're in a large company. I noticed Santander were on there already. There will be something, Speakers for Schools will help you sort of develop a project that you can work with the students. So I think it's a really good offer. If you're not involved and you want to be involved, do let me know, because I can put you in touch with Jo. And like she said, just because if you run a smaller company doesn't stop you doing some work experience. You can limit the placements that you have, but you could work in tandem with other companies that are close by that are offering the same sort of thing, and work as a across companies together. So there's some great opportunities. So has anybody got any questions on that?
Nikki and Joe, John's working on the virtual work experience for a provision, hopefully for all the SEN settings that we can push out across Plymouth. I think he's been engaged. Would he be able to get access to those two workshops next week? Because they seem quite good from a creative perspective, just to give some further ideas.
Yeah, absolutely. Please do. Yeah, the links are on the slide, or Nikki can send them to you. So yeah, absolutely. Please do sign up. Yeah, no problem.
He did some work last week, actually, with Caroline, just looking at the Gatsby benchmarks in terms of mapping across. And they came up with a little bit of a narrative about Gatsby 5 and 6, I think it was, John, where they saw the relevance.
Yes, I asked Caroline about how they wanted it to be a successful experience. And Caroline reminded about benchmarks 5 and 6. And I replied to her and mentioned how we can achieve the benchmarks and I'm confident we'll achieve benchmarks 5 and 6. And I think Caroline's agreed with me regarding the plan for that.
Brilliant.
Perfect.
Brilliant.
So Caroline did mention that she was meeting with you, John, as well. So I can pick that up with Caroline. But if you're more than welcome to come along to the workshops, of course. I think it'd be great to have your input actually. So yeah.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do. I think I can attend one, but I've got a clash on one of the others.
No problem. It's probably it's likely that it'll have some overlap anyway. So that would be great.
Okay. Thank you very much, Joe.
Thanks, John. Thanks, Michael.
Okay, that's great. Joe, you are staying, aren't you? Because I need to pick your brains in a minute because we're going to talk about governor forums.
Okay, no
problem. One of the things that I put on that I failed already that I put on the agenda was the first in the first session I was supposed to do the actions from last time. Well, there was only one action, and it was around the governor forum. And when we talked last time, we talked about the fact that we felt it was really important that we started to engage with the linked governors in each school, particularly at the moment where schools are struggling quite a lot, and the careers agenda is slipping drastically down the focus of the schools. And I think that we really need to point out that right now, more than ever, where exams aren't going to be had and students are missing out on work placements, the year 10s didn't have them last year. We need to look at making sure that we've got this careers activity going on in schools, because what the needs of you guys, what you want from a student, how they interact, how you interview them, all these different skills that they don't know they need, and we need to make sure that schools are preparing those young people with the skills that we're now looking for. So we talked about a governor forum, and we asked you to find out who your linked governors were. That was the action from last time. And I think today, what I wanted to do is just because we've got Joe here. Joe ran a governor forum in Somerset. And I think, Joe, I know I'm putting you on the spot, I'm really sorry, but I think it'd be really interesting just to hear from Joe some feedback, what sort of thing they delivered. And then I think that what I'd like to do is get just a few of us together to come up with a plan and look at how we can offer a governor forum in Plymouth. It's quite difficult because there's no central governor sort of point in Plymouth, whereas there is one in Somerset, which makes life a little bit easier. So we are going to need your help to identify who these people are and to be able to get hold of them. But I would like to hold something that is for enterprise advisors and the linked governors from their schools. So I'd like to set up a little working party so we can get something moving. But in the meantime, I thought, Joe, if you could just very briefly give us a little update on how it came about, what you delivered, and what the feedback was.
Yeah, sure. So it was a little while ago now, so bear with me. So it came about exactly like you say, Nikki, because we realised, one of the Gatsby benchmark provisos was that every school had a linked governor that was associated with careers. We realised not many schools had them or even knew that was a priority. And so we were really, I used to cover Somerset, now I'm in Devon. So, and we were really lucky in Somerset in that the council has a lead for somebody that looks after all of the governors in the area. So she had pulled everybody together with her, and with her help, we held a bit of a forum that basically gave them an overview of what the Gatsby benchmarks were, what Ofsted were looking for, what their role was, and what it could be, and how they could link with you guys as enterprise advisors, and how it kind of fitted into the whole careers plan for the school or college. What we found was that a load of them a couple were already careers leads, which was fantastic, but the majority of them didn't even know that careers lead within the governor forum needed to exist. They had no idea about the benchmarks and no idea how they could contribute. So it really just raised awareness, that first forum, and there's a follow-up one happening now. But we had, speakers from the CEC. We pulled in a governor, or Susie actually spoke on behalf of, to tell them what they do, what she does in terms of her role. Then we also had somebody from Thatcher's, so an employer's perspective, talking about apprenticeships and how she gets involved and the sorts of things that she does, next steps as well, just to kind of give them a bit of an all-rounded view of what happens in the school, who they can approach, how they can link, what they do, and how they can kind of get involved. And what we found is that now I think in Somerset there's about, I don't know, at least 60% of the schools have that link governor and are regularly involved in the careers meetings. And what we find is that actually where there's an enterprise advisor and a link governor, the relationship is just far, far stronger. They work together, they come up with, different ideas, and they could, two heads is better than one, basically. So yeah, it's really made all the difference. And it's somewhere, now careers is regularly on the governor agenda, and it's just something that they continually action and kind of feedback on. So
John, that's fine. Thank you very much for letting us know. Thanks for coming. I know you've got to jump off, so thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. If I don't see you later, see you soon. Bye.
Yeah, bye. Well, a couple of our enterprise advisors are governors. Rich, you're a governor, and Lee Settington is a governor at MAP now on the back of being an enterprise advisor. So, and I guess, Rich, I'd like to think that you are a careers lead governor as well. And I just think that it'd be really helpful to hear from you, because I think that a governor role, unless any of us have done it before, and I've never done it, I think it's a role that we don't necessarily understand either. So I thought if you could just give us sort of a quick overview of what the governors do, Rich, and then I think we'll sort of move this on by just identifying a few people to help work together on our forum.
Of course. So in my school in particular, it wasn't, it was something we had to fight for, to be honest with you. And we had to do a lot of hand-holding to even get to the stage we are now with regards to having a governor who is linked to the careers lead. So it only happened as a result of me being an enterprise advisor first hand, and then becoming a governor kind of second hand, and taking that link with me, I suppose. So what does it entail? Well, it's quite new. So it started with this school in September, and obviously then we had restrictions, etc., that impacted us in the first term. I link probably once a month, if not twice a month, with Sarah, who's the head of careers. That's the relationship I'd had from being an enterprise advisor in the first place. But I'm also that kind of critical friend to the governing body as well, with regards to okay, so how does this fit in with careers, especially around budgetary matters, but also around resources, just general resources and time within the school when we're looking at timetables and stuff as well. So making sure that there is enough time in every single year's timetable to have that careers conversation, but also working with the careers lead within the school to understand what that looks like. So obviously year 7 strategy is going to be a lot different to those in year 11, 12, 13, etc. I've also, Stoke Damerel has just been picked up by Greenshaw Learning Trust as well. So it's a new map that they're going to be going into. So I've also got a place as the careers link on their Plymouth secondary shared governing body. So I'll be able to be a bit of a careers link for other secondaries that they start to pick up. They're very new to Plymouth Greenshaw, but their plan is quite aggressive and quite fast-paced at the moment to start picking up other schools. So I expect that we might hear that name a lot more often on these sorts of calls as well. So yeah, I suppose that's what I've been involved with from September. It might be different for other careers link governors, but definitely hands-on and very much fighting for the little man, as it were, as most career departments are. So yeah, that's kind of where I stand.
I think that's really useful, because I think the fact that you're an enterprise advisor and you've gone on to the governors and you've struggled to get careers onto the governors actually speaks volumes to me. That some schools and also the head of your school, or she's now a CEO, I think they've changed her title, haven't they, but the principal of your school sits on our head teachers board, so they're well ensconced in the careers agenda, and yet it's been quite difficult to get someone dedicated on the governors. So I think there's work for us to do, guys, but if you've all identified who your careers governors is, what I'd like to do is set up a little group. Oh, you're back again.
Oh, my meeting's been moved.
Oh, that's okay. Great. So, yeah, I think we set up a little working group, sort of three or four of us, like we did for the mentoring, and just see if we can set something up, set some kind of event up. It'll be obviously online at the moment. Take the learning from the work that Joe did. There's all sorts of stuff on CEC website for governors. There's presentations, there's booklets, there's all sorts of things that we can share. So I think that if anybody would like to join me to set something up, please, and we won't do it now, but just drop me a note. If I don't get anybody, then I will pick on 3 or 4 of you, I'm telling you now. So if anybody has got a burning desire and would like to do some work on that, that would be great. And then when we come back next time, we'll have it back on the agenda and talk about what we're going to deliver. Is that all right? Because I'd like to deliver something in the summer term.
Nikki, there's also a newsletter, dedicated governor newsletter that the CEC have just started doing.
Okay.
And there's some training coming up in February, I think. So we'll get those details out to you with the notes for this meeting.
Great, thank you. Okay, so moving on then, we're going to talk about the enterprise advisor role and the new recruitment campaign that's going on. So Simon, if you could just get my slides back up, please, that would be great. Okay, so the new enterprise advisor recruitment campaign is called Rewrite the Story. And the idea is that we highlight to business and people out on social media, LinkedIn, that kind of thing, the tale of being an enterprise advisor and how brilliant it is. You're all fantastic advocates for it. I know you are. I know that you tell other people about it, but this is a bit more targeted, and we're looking to make sure that we hit our target of getting an enterprise advisor in each one of our 160 schools by July. Not too much pressure then. So Simon, I think if you move it on, do you want to play the video? You can see this is a video one of the videos that the CEC have put out on social media.
Helping to change the system, helping schools shape the future. The role of an enterprise advisor has such huge capacity to impact the lives of young people.
It's about making connections between schools and the world of work, making students aware of the different pathways and opportunities that are available.
The value an enterprise advisor brings to all of this is that they bring a set of eyes that a school or college may not have.
To help the careers leads understand the needs of tomorrow's workforce.
It gives me the personal growth to be able to deal with much greater things than I could without the role.
We work very closely with career advisors to make sure their programs are relevant and up to date with both policy and at the same time curriculum guidance as it pertains to industry.
Linking employers and education together is absolutely vital. It enables schools, teachers, everybody to stay up to date with what is current, with what is now, because after all, they're at school learning. What are they going to do with their GCSEs and A-levels afterwards? So what an EA brings is really valuable.
It's really important to me that young people have the opportunity to explore the world of work, and this is an entitlement for everybody. It's not a nice to have, it's a must have.
If you really want to make a difference to young people and your community, then I'd recommend being an enterprise advisor over anything else.
Brilliant, thank you. Can you go on to the next slide, please? So I can't tell you how pleased I am that that just worked, because we've spent quite a bit of time this morning trying to get the sound on that to work. So I'm very, very happy. I'm almost overwhelmed that we got that to work. So that's brilliant. So basically, we need enterprise advisors in every school that we've got. We've had, like I said at the beginning, we've had a bit of a churn on our enterprise advisors over the summer for various reasons. Unfortunately, some people lost their job and had to move. Other people have changed jobs and they're not able to continue doing the enterprise advisor role. And so we have got more vacancies. I think for anyone that's been around a while, I think we got to the point where we had no secondary schools apart from what was the Red School without an enterprise advisor around May, June time last year. So and now you can see that we've got quite a few more. So I guess my ask to you guys is, if you see the campaign stuff on LinkedIn, please do share it. Please do tell people about the role that you do. It is really vital. It is really, really important. And I think that we've had some postcards, some quote cards done. And the first one went out and it was, Darren, you were #1. And basically what I've done is I've taken them from the work that Rosa did. If you did an interview with Rosa and she did those fantastic sort of case studies that went onto our website, I've lifted some of the quotes from them. So I think Simon, you're in there, Lindsay, you're in there, Darren and Carl, I think it is. So I've lifted some quotes from what you said to Rosa, and we've had them put on some quote cards and some pictures put on there. So we're going to sort of drip feed it through LinkedIn and Twitter, and it was about making it personal and making it sort of like Heart of the Southwest centric, if you like, so that we had our own advisors rather than advisors that came from elsewhere in the country, because I think it's really important that people see people from the southwest on those postcards and not necessarily people from Manchester or the northeast or whatever. So please do look out for them, do share them, and do tell your story. You can see from the list we've got All Saints Academy, Cambridge, Coombe Dean, Millbay Academy, which used to be the School of Creative Arts, Milford, Notre Dame, Plimpton Academy, Scott Medical College, St Boniface and Woodlands. The ones with the stars are special educational needs. So they do need a slightly different approach, but Mike will tell you he's had some fantastic success at long course, and I know that Mount Tamar as well, that we've got Mike Deeroff is supporting Mount Tamar, and we've got Kath Burke who supports Brook Green, and they both of them, or all 3 schools, are doing really, really well, and they are leading the charge in terms of SEND delivery for careers. So it is a slightly different approach for them. However, we're building quite a strong network for our SEND schools, and I know that Mike, Kath and Mike and John actually will be able to support anybody. So if you do know anyone and you think it's something that they would like to do, please do share. Your networks are tremendous, I'm absolutely sure, which is one of the reasons that you've taken this job on. So I guess I'm asking you now to tap into that and to see if there's anyone that you think could potentially help. My dream was always to get 2 enterprise advisors for each school, but do you know what? Right now I'd take 1. So if you've got anybody, please do put them in touch with us. We've got some fantastic material now that we can share with people who are thinking about joining the Enterprise Advisor Network. The CEC has actually got a micro site. I think, Simon, I don't know if you can go back to the previous slide. I think I put it on that one. Sorry, the one before that again. And again, these will come out in the notes. That enterpriseadvisor.careers and enterprisecompany.co.uk is a micro site, and there's all sorts of things on there. There's videos and bits and pieces on there, so you can always point someone in that direction if they want to consider. But like I said, I've got quite a lot of material that I can send out. Sharon and Joe Burney will tell you that I bombarded them the minute that they said that they were potentially maybe even slightly interested. So there's lots of really interesting stuff coming out, so please do. This is a plea from the heart. We need some more enterprise advisors. Please, if you know anybody, do put them our way. That's
Nikki,
fantastic.
just quickly on that, how widely are we able to share that list of the schools requiring someone?
That's fine. You can share it as
Cool.
widely as you like, because it might be one of the hooks for you, Rich, for instance, was the fact that you were able to go back to your own school. So it might be that we might have someone from, I mean, you won't have anybody for Mill Bay necessarily. Well, you won't, because they haven't really had anyone leave yet. But Plimpton Academy, for instance, or All Saints, there'll be people in this city that went to one of those schools, or St Boniface particularly. They've got a really strong alumni network. So there will be, Simon, I think you went to St Boniface, didn't you? So there will be definitely people that will look at that and go, actually, I'd quite like to help my old school out. So yeah, absolutely, agreed. Share. Fine. Cool. Okay, has anybody got any questions on that? Simon, I think that's the last slide on that, actually. Yes. So has anybody got any questions on that? No? Brill. Okay, right, we're going to do the breakout session. Sharon, I know that you've got to go in a sec, so if you want to go before, it's up to you. You can join for 5 minutes and then go. It's completely up to you. Thank you very much. What we wanted to do was to right now we talk to the careers leads, and they're struggling. In all honesty, they are struggling a little bit. They're struggling being isolated at home. They are struggling trying to get careers into the curriculum when curriculum is the focus for all of the schools. They are struggling just with IT, you know, the basic stuff. And so what we wanted to do was look at how, as enterprise advisors, we can come up with some really tangible ways of helping them. So we thought we'd do sort of 3 breakout rooms and have a little discussion for 20 minutes or so, and look at how we can help in this current situation and beyond. Because like I said about the virtual work experience, the stuff that we are helping them with now could be part of a blended approach further down the track, where we can start you know, seeing people face to face again. We want to help careers leaders to support them, and we want to help with the employer engagement. How do we help with employer engagement and skills? Like I said earlier, the skills that students need now are different to what they were before. I think I've mentioned this before. Simon won't mind me saying he got this job on a Zoom interview. So for a start off, you've got to be able to, unlike me, be able to put your presentation up and be very adept at switching through the screens and getting it all moving nice and well. Joe and I often laugh and say that we'd never have got this job because neither of us can do that very well. So, you know, there are different skills. They need to understand how their persona is online. They need to understand how the working world has changed. How do we get that into schools? And the final one is around local labour market intelligence. I don't know if Sharon's gone or not, but we sit on the Plymouth Resurgam group, which is I think we had Emma and Tina here last time, and Tina now, she's had to give up being an enterprise advisor because she's now the head of post-16 and employability for Plymouth City Council. So she's taken over from Ed Coley. So if anybody knows Ed Coley, she's taken over from him. So she's got a huge job working with Emma Hewitt on the skills agenda for Plymouth. So Sharon and I sit on that group, and there's all sorts of labour market information that comes out of that, but we need to work out how we can get that information to the schools and make it tangible for students, because right now we know what the requirements are of the city in terms of the sorts of jobs, but in 2 or 3 years time those sorts of jobs may have changed completely, partly due to COVID, but partly just due to the world moving on. So we need to understand what that looks like so that schools are preparing their young people for the jobs of the future. So we need to look at labour market information and how we can get that to the schools at this time. So what we're going to do, okay, Sharon, no problem, thank you. I'll talk to you separately about the labour market information. So what we want to do is to go into 3 breakout groups, have a quick chat about it. We've got about 20 minutes because we've got plenty of time today, because we thought it was really important that we could get some stuff. And what we'd really like to do is from you guys get at least one tangible thing from each of those groups that we can work on to give to the schools, because it's so easy to talk about it and not actually give them something tangible. So we want to make sure that we've got something that you can sit with your careers leads and you can say, well, we've developed this, or we've suggested perhaps we can work in this way. So that's what we're going to talk about. You're going to have some facilitators in there. So Claire will be in one room, Simon will be in the other, and I'll be in the in another. But we want one of you to share to feedback, because it's, you know, more, you listen to my voice enough today. So we'd like one of you from each group to feedback. So hopefully this is going to work. We've put you all in. Yes, please. Joe, it's up to you. You're welcome to stay if you want to.
Nikki,
so yep.
Sorry. It doesn't seem to have pre-assigned the people.
Oh,
so
we were doing so well.
We were doing so well. So I thought I might just have to like assign
just random it then.
Randomly, yeah.
But right. Will you be able to move Simon, me, and you?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. We'll do that then. Okay.
Okay.
Brilliant. So if we can just have sort of like, it's past now. If we can come back, my fault completely. That's flown by then, hasn't it?
It has, hasn't it? Yeah.
I think we should just make a start.
We do? Yeah, let's do
you
some
start
of the
with
groups.
yours. You start with your group then.
Okay. Can someone else?
Yeah. So who is in Simon's group? Who's going to feed back?
Simon, Elaine, Darren is gone, and John.
Bye everyone. See you soon. Bye.
Bye, John.
John, thanks.
Bye.
Lane and Simon, it's over to you. Daniel Shower once mutes on as well.
Which subject did you have?
We were looking at how we can support careers leads.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you come up with one thing, Elaine?
Yes, we did. I think from our conversation, the biggest thing we need to do is understand the barriers that our careers guys are having. And just in our small group, it was mixed as to whether we'd picked up with them this year or not yet. So our one action is we need to get in touch, find out what barriers they're having, because we can't really give any support and solutions unless we understand what the issues are. So that was the one thing, and we kind of felt we probably need to tie into that an understanding of what's happening with the GCSE students and the A-level students who no longer have exams. So kind of what is that being backfilled with, because that could be an opportunity for us to do some work with those groups without it actually being a squeeze on their time, because maybe they've got a little bit more time because of the situation.
I think that's a really valid point, and I know that we as a hub have been, or me, our Plymouth and Torbay team have been talking about that. And I think that when you're talking to your careers leads, that knowledge and understanding that is a potential time where you could be doing something is a fantastic way to get the conversation started. Brilliant. What's happening with those doing exams? Fab. Okay, great. Claire, your group.
Yeah, Ralph, Joe, Carl, would any of you like to sort of feedback on what you were talking about?
Is Carl gone? Oh, he's still here.
I'm happy to jump in. I think the first thing that I'd said about it was difficult getting the message into schools initially in relation to opportunities, particularly with graduate recruitment, and that is obviously made a bit more difficult now with the remoteness of not being able to get into the schools. However, we're working with Plymouth Stock to try and get good visual, video sort of pieces together to be able to send out, which hopefully should be able to connect with the students, because they do live in a virtual world. So if we can get the right information out there, things like graduate apprenticeships, which have not really been sold by schools but are out there. We've got a graduate apprentice and who's been very successful, so we're going to use Chris to try and get that message across. So,
is that Apprentice of the Year last year, Chris?
That is Apprentice of the Year.
Yay!
Chris. So yeah, we're trying to use him to get use in the nicest possible way. I'd like to add, but just to get that message across, because I did some work with Plymouth University last year when they found out about Chris and they found out about he was going to be debt free when he came out of his degree. I had about 200 students on my case saying, well, where were you 18 months ago when we were looking at our options? So I think that is a real push, but we have got a real opportunity to do that. And in relation to opportunities in labour, we're seeing lots of work across big companies across Plymouth, placing orders with companies outside of Plymouth that are not focused on social value. And also with social value, it isn't a high enough percentage on their assessment criteria.
Can I jump in, Carl? Sorry to interrupt, but I know we're rushing with time. There is something that we all discussed, and it's absolutely critical. There is a lot going on locally, and sending just links to the schools might not be the easiest way to get things through. So we discussed the possibility of creating a video where a job passes through profession to profession to profession to profession in a real life environment, if it's a hospital, if it's a dockyard, if it's whatever. And every time it passes, there's a scenario where whatever that person's skill is adding, so youngsters will see what that role is, so on and so forth. And actually, we can also use it to link to the topics of study. So people, your kids can, one, learn about the jobs, see how they link to their school life, and also see what is then suddenly linked to the local market as well. It's just making it bite-sized to be accessible to the youngsters rather than just links over the internet. Thank you.
So in order to do that, obviously it's a great idea, and we've come up with something relatively similar in our group. But I guess the thing is how do we take that on from here? Because what we don't want to do is just have these great ideas and then we move on to something else. So it's about how we get that moving and how we potentially can do something about it. So was that Claire's group that did that? So Claire, is there sort of a way that you guys can talk to one another and see if you can move that forward? Yeah,
I think it's something that Ralph has kind of already got a bit of a plan and is potentially looking at. Isn't that right, Ralph? So we were thinking about just starting with one and then seeing how it could relate to other industries.
Great.
Yeah, absolutely. It's rounding up people from different professions, and even just by them on like now expressing what they do and how they do it and what they had to do to get to this role and how they interact with others. And what we want to do is make it not relevant to any industry in particular. So it can be a hospital following a patient on a bed going through with everybody that has to deal with a patient, for example, or doing a job in a construction site with the accountants involved and the finance and the procurement and the marketing and all that. So because what we're finding is the enterprise advisor and the school, say career advisors, to actually be able to engage with the young people and show them what's out there. It's not getting the right message because kids are not really knowledgeable about what does that job entails. There's a lot of stuff being said to them about you can be this, you can be that, but they can't really grasp it, especially as you say, Nikki, that many families don't have that experience within their social circle. So anyway.
So is it then that by the time we come back next time, because we have these meetings every couple of months, by the time we come back next time, we have a prototype that we can share that people can have a look at? Is that doable?
We can try, and we need people to put their hands up, and then we can create that, prototype working group and try.
Well,
to
I'm
get
going
something.
to send out a new list of enterprise advisors because we've had some changes, and so that everybody's got everybody's contact details. So I think, Ralph, I don't know, I may be just putting you on the spot and you can email me afterwards and go, thanks very much for that. But is there a way that you can maybe coordinate and start that ball rolling? You'll have everybody's email addresses if everyone's happy with that. And we've done it before, so I don't see that there should be any problem. And you know that my whole thing is that you are a network in your own right, and working together is really important. So if Ralph, maybe you and I can talk separately and see if we can get some movement, and with maybe Carl, and see if we can get some. And Joe, Joe Burney, were you in that one as well?
Yes, I was. Yeah, Nikki, one of the things we did mention as well is whether or not this is the sort of thing, I don't know, a third year project person at uni doing design and media or might be able to pitch in with and help us with in order to pitch it for students, for the younger kids that's going to hold their attention. I mean, it'd be a great third year project that actually gives something back into schools. I don't know whether that's the sort of thing that fits the bill. That was the only other.
I think that might be key, because otherwise we're in danger of just having that, kind of employer to school angle. Kind of communication, which may not, as you say, resonate.
You're absolutely right, Simon. That's what we said. Every company of ours has their marketing. Look how great we are. And actually you're pitching to professional people who want to maybe go and get them off another job. You're absolutely right.
Right, guys, I'm really conscious of time, because I think that perhaps we could, yeah, there we go, could also be a
Let's
great
follow it up
virtual
later.
work.
Yes.
Yeah, I think there's
Absolutely.
some definite mileage in it, and I think that our challenge now is not to leave this sitting in this meeting, but actually to drive it forward. So I think between Simon, Claire, Caroline and I will be in touch and we'll have a chat about that. So my group talked about helping schools with employability and skills. So Rich, you were just going to give our top idea.
Yeah, sure. We had lots of ideas around this, especially around communications, etc., that we're now using. So we thought one of the ways we could help is to do a bit of a day in the life of, kind of during lockdown, etc., and maybe just have a bit of a note at the end of how things have changed, and sort of mentioned around how, you know, jobs haven't changed. We're just delivering them in a very different way. So kind of doing a bit of a day in the life of around that little sort of blog video, etc.
And I think that message is key. The jobs haven't changed just yet. It's just the way we go about it that's changed. And I did mention to the group that I was in, there were some COVID videos that were produced by the Cornerstone Employer Group. Santander Jace did one, and Babcock. And so they're online. We'll put a link in our notes to it. Do have a look, because they're quite good. And they are little sort of how COVID has affected the way people work. But what we talked about was making it Plymouth focused. So what we're going to do is a little group is one of us is going to have a little go at videoing the day in their life, and we're going to see where we go from that. But we thought that it might be that message is around the jobs haven't changed, just the way we deliver it has. And there was quite a lot of conversation, particularly around how we communicate with one another and how that has definitely changed. And we need to make sure that our young people that are in a house that maybe has 3 kids that are all sharing a computer, that aren't actually able to understand how presenting themselves online, how important that is, and you know, are nice to have, and we just don't have the facility to do it right now. But maybe the next step to this is doing a little presentation where each student spends 1 minute talking about themselves online, so that they can get used to, they don't necessarily, it doesn't have to go anywhere, but they can record it and look back at it and that kind of thing. So that might be something that we look at down the track, so that they just get used to seeing what they look like and what they sound like online. So I think we'll take that forward with our group. But thank you, I think that's really helpful. And I think what we need to do now is make sure that we do move this forward, that we don't just have it, like I said, left in the meeting. We've got some fantastic willing volunteers, so let's get some get this moving and see if we can get something out to the schools. And maybe in the next meeting we'll have a feedback on how we've done, so it gives us a couple of months to get something up and running, if that's okay. Is that all right with everyone? Great. So last thing very quickly is any other business. I just very quickly wanted to say about those COVID videos that I've mentioned. The other thing as well is about that the CEC have got some inductions coming up, some EA inductions. So I know a lot of you had your induction, and we did it again in Santander in Plymouth. A lot of you had it there, but some of you weren't able to make it. So if you weren't, watch out, because there is going to be something coming centrally. And for the new guys, there is going to be something coming centrally. We may run something locally as well. We're just going to look at numbers with the recruitment campaign. It might be that we try and pick something up in the interim. But if you didn't get swept up with the last lot that we did at Santander, please keep an eye out and do join the CEC version or the ones that we're running locally. And the very last thing that I've got, a couple of people have said to me this morning, 9:30 on a Monday morning, are you mad? And I said, well, we talked about it at the beginning and we agreed that it would be a good time to do it because most people hadn't started doing too much. It would give Elaine time to get the branch open and to get the kettle on ready for us to turn up at 9:30. But apart from that, that was the sort of discussion we had. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little poll out and see when people would prefer. Now, we're never going to get everybody. I completely understand that. And we're never going to get everybody at every meeting. So if you just say which days are suitable for you, I try and stay away from the beginning of the month and I try and stay away from the end. So it will be in those middle 2 weeks, unless somebody says to me, no, that's no good, because I just think if you're going to be doing end of month stats or beginning of month profiling and stuff, then that's that's the time that you've got to do it. So I will send something out that just says, when's the best day of the week and the best time. So and it may well be that 9:30 on the third Monday of every month, which is what we agreed originally, still comes out top, but we'll see. Does anybody have anything? There's only a few of us left, so does anybody have anything that they wanted to say? Elaine? No. Mike?
No, thanks, Dee.
Joe Skeel? Or Joe Burney, both? Claire, you're in the middle of those two on my screen. No. Rich? Ralph?
No, thank you.
No. Simon? Lindsay?
No, good.
Carl?
No,
we'll talk about Resurgam at another time, you and me.
Yeah,
the only thing that's left to say is to say thank you, and we will get some notes out and our actions to move those ideas forward and to come back at the next meeting to talk about that. Okay? Thank you so much, guys. As
Thanks,
always,
everyone.
an absolute pleasure. Take care and stay well.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Cheers, everyone. Take care.
Bye. Bye.
Thanks. Okay, can we stop? Should I stop the recording? Yeah.
I completely lost track